dark place, like completely destroyed and broken. So that's been an essential part. But when you talk about societal barriers, there's one of the questions I wanted to ask you was in regards to like, why the army for you? Because, okay, whenever I have discussions amongst like some like my ethnic friends in regards to the army and joining the British Army in particular, there is a sort of pushback, like feeling disconnected to the nation that you're a part of in essence, the nation that you're holding their passport, the nation that you're making your living in, that you have your family in, but it's also a disconnect to join the armed forces. It's like, why am I going to go and die for a country that you in essence live in? Do you see what I mean? But
I know what you mean, yeah.
So obviously you being a black man, like, why the army, and also why do you think there's a disconnect, and how can we sort of like bridge that?
Yeah, well, it's a bit like if you play for a football team in England, let's say, you wouldn't turn down a cap because, but the country's racist or whatever you think. Like, you're playing for the lads on the pitch kind of thing. Like, by then, they're your best buddies, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of like that. Like, when I joined the Royal Marines, I want to fight for my country, but I'm not Mr. Patriotic. I didn't go there with a tear running down my face. I want to fight for this country because we're in a war kind of thing. I went there. Oh, it's a job as well. Bear in mind, it's a job. I get paid. You know, I'd left school kind of thing. What am I going to do? So I wanted to join the Marines from years ago anyway, but I joined the Royal Marines. It's a legit job. You get paid. You get to travel the world and all this kind of stuff. And obviously you go away and you fight. So when I went through training, it wasn't really about black and white and all this. It was 60 odd of us stood there. We all want to be the same thing. And when you're being told do 1,000 press-ups, jump in that pool of water, crawl across the ground for 10 million miles, everyone's just trying to do it. So you weren't thinking about fighting for your country or the Queen or anything like that. You're just doing what you're being told to do, so to speak. By the time you finish training, only 11 originals got through out of about 70.
Oh, for real?
So us 11 are like real close. Yeah. And then when we join a unit, we're just like busy mates now. So when we get sent to Afghanistan, no one's really thinking, I'm going to fight for my country kind of thing. You're just going to do your job with your buddies, and that's it. When you're there in the middle of a firefight, no one's, even if someone gets injured, you're not sat there thinking, I did it for my country. You're just kind of injured, just shitting yourself kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of all it is. I mean, I get what you're saying, because even I had a thought when the whole Black Lives Matter thing reached here, the UK, a couple of months back. Yeah. And I thought, in a way, why did I fight for this country when you got the idiot government running it and they don't seem to care anyway? But the thing is, I mean, this is my home. This is all I've known. I was born here. My mum and dad were born here. Their parents were born in Jamaica, but this is all I've known. So if I'm going to fight for someone, it's not going to be Jamaica. It's going to be Great Britain. This is where I raised my kids. This is where I get my food shopping. This is where I was educated. I think the educational system, that's the problem, because we have like a Black History Month, which I just think it annoys me a bit, because I think it's like we've taken like just a crap deal, if you know what I mean. Yeah. If you just spoke about history, you have no other option but to mention Black people, you know. Yeah. But it's the educational system just teaches you what they want it to teach you. So we've kind of been given this Black History Month as if, oh, thank you for giving us a month out of 12 months.
It's almost like going to do your own thing with it. It's not like we're not going to partake in it and implement it into like our system. Yeah. Here, take this month and do whatever you want.
Yeah, and then after that, then go back to where you come from kind of thing, and we're going to go, you know, so we're almost like taking like a bad deal. Like, if you just spoke about history, it's like, I can't remember the guy's name, but you know, like Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb.
Oh, yeah.
White guy. But I can't remember the guy's name, but a black guy actually invented the carbon filament, which we still use today. Yeah. So that's the full story, but you only get taught about Thomas Edison kind of thing, who's the white dude who did that. So it's little silly things like that. We can't teach all history, or else you'd never leave school. But at the same time, if you just spoke about the whole picture in general, you've got other option but to mention Black people, Indian people, whatever, different cultures and everything else like that. When the bombs were going off in World War II, for example, there were Black firefighters putting out the bombs that had landed here in the country and so on. And they won awards and medals and things like that as well. So everyone was involved. Sikhs were fighting alongside us as well. But you don't get taught about those things just because our education system doesn't teach you about it. So even though we're a valid part of this country, and we've always fought for this country, being Black or white or this or that, no one's really taught about that. Hundreds and hundreds of years ago, it was all white, obviously. But we've had a big part to play in the development of this country, good or bad. And I think that's why, even though we're a minority, I still wanted to fight, and it would have obviously been for this country. And that's why you actually get quite a few Black people in the forces. Ultimately, it's a job, but also if you're going to fight for someone, it's going to be your own, isn't it? And this is my country, whether I like it or not.
Yeah, I think that's what been one of the failures of the country, in order to get people to be more patriotic and feel more part of the country as a whole. And that comes down to, number one, acceptance of like our role within the history of the country, and then also acknowledging it by bringing it into the school systems. Because for a long period of time, I didn't even have a clue that there was blacks. I mean, during my whole secondary school period of life, I didn't have a clue there was black people involved in the World War. I thought we were in Africa somewhere, or we were, I mean, we were just hiding, working in homes and slaves and whatnot. I didn't actually know the impact that we had. I didn't know the impact that the Sikhs had. And that's a failure, because if you want people to be patriotic, you have to acknowledge their part played in a system built. And once you do that and you take full accountability and you acknowledge them and you implement it into the system and let them know that the roles that the positive roles in particular, not just all the negative sides, then you will probably have more people being more patriotic about it, because they feel a part of what they see around them. They feel like they played a part in building it, instead of just having the owners of those individuals being praised. And it kind of creates like a weird vibe for most British, most non-black British people. Yeah. Because when I speak to most of my friends, they don't tend to feel patriotic. They tend to have a weird vibe about it. And me, I'm kind of connected to 3 countries, but I feel I'm quite patriotic to all 3, because I was born in Ghana, I was raised in Sweden, I've got a Swedish passport still, but I've lived in UK for the last 20 years. So in my passport it says born in Ghana, Swedish citizen, but UK ambassador. That's what it says in my Swedish passport. So I'm affiliated to 3 countries, and I feel as connected to all 3 countries as much as so that I like to claim Ghana most, because that's my homeland and that's where I was born, but also for a level of like allegiance to all 3. And maybe that's for me having like a more positive experience across those 3 countries overall. But some people haven't, and some people are not able to like truly delve into their experiences and be able to get rid of like the bitter end of the side that they feel